this whole situation is I have a set of standards that we go by as a football team. Those standards weren't met. That individual knew prior that we weren't having a prior agreement to prevent a later misunderstanding. Once those incidents were brought to my attention, I addressed them immediately because these are life lessons. They have nothing to do with football. When you're trying to teach people how to respect other people, no matter how you see or view them. And he had immediately reached back out, apologized, committed to trying to be a better man and a better person from the incident. But we had already moved on. The decision had been made because, as I said, there's a prior agreement in place to prevent later misunderstandings. It's very unfortunate that it went out as a one-sided story, but I've been around this business too long. I've coached Hall of Famers, and it's not anything different. What I coach now, I've coached 20 years ago. When I talk to Emmett Smith, when I talk to Edwin James, when I coach Adrian Peterson, when I coach Curtis Martin, I coach them the same. I'm not asking any man on this football team to do anything differently than I coach those men to do. And it's really, we have a very, very high standard of football. It wasn't met today. And when we have a player that steps out of line with what we believe in as a staff, it must be dealt with. And I did. And I didn't think twice about it. We did the right thing and we moved on. Not at this point. I'd be, more than willing to help him with any other football team that ask or inquire about him, but that has not happened.
And good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Mauler's Talk. And that was Kirby Wilson explaining what was going on with the cut of De'Veon Smith from the team over a piece of pizza. Now, this last game, his pregame talk with his team, he told them not to listen to anything that the media says because the media was taking it out of proportion. And that's why he had this press conference, was because everybody in the media kept saying, well, why would you cut a player over a piece of pizza? All right. Well, it turns out that, as I said before, De'Veon Smith didn't follow the rules. And so, therefore, that's why Kirby Wilson cut him. And, I guess he's like one of those other coaches that just, I'll go without somebody else. I don't care what kind of star you are. If you're going to violate the rules, you're gone. There's coaches that have done that in the past, but that's then. This is now. Good afternoon. I'm Ralph Williams. Now we're here every Wednesday. I bumped this time up to 4:30 now for Mauler's Talk here on YouTube and Facebook. I will be on for Mauler's pregame on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. And that'll be live here on YouTube and Facebook. And then I will be live again for Mauler's postgame immediately following. It'll be 10 minutes following the Mauler's game this week. So you might want to tune in. They play at 2:30 on Fox. I'm sorry, USA Network 2:30. Play the Michigan Panthers, who just lost to the New Jersey Generals this weekend, 10-6. And Jeff Fisher and his gang can't seem to win a football game, nor can they seem to put any points on the board, nor can they seem to have a defense to stop them from scoring points. So I don't know what's been going on here with Jeff Fisher and his team. All right. Well, also the Pittsburgh Maulers and this team. Well, at least the Maulers this week were the first team to use the three-point conversion and actually convert it. And then on top of that, there were some different play calls. Kirby Wilson, I will give him credit. He took the blame for the last loss. He said, listen, he says, look, this loss was on me. I made poor judgment decisions. I made poor play calls. So therefore, that was the story with Kirby Wilson as far as what he admitted to do. But he still won't take back the fact that he got rid of a player over a piece of pizza who he claims violated the rules. Now, my question is, did he really violate the rules? And I've been saying that on all these shows right now, ever since this went down. Did he really violate the rules? I don't think so. I mean, he seemed like a pretty sincere kid and a nice kid and somebody who was brought up to respect people. I think the only thing he said was, is there going to be a problem with the guy said, is there going to be a problem with you not having a piece of pizza? And he said, yes. And I think that's probably where Kirby Wilson got this idea that he was going to, it was a threat to whatever the rules are in his handbook that says you don't disrespect any USFL players, cafeteria workers, janitors, people, ushers, whatever, anybody connected with the USFL, you can't disrespect, or, supposedly you get kicked off the team. But they lost 30-23. They did better in offensive play calling. Once again, where's Kyle Laletta been at? Where's he at? Can't seem to find him. He was supposed to be playing. He was supposed to be our first round pick. Before a second week in a row, Josh Love was at quarterback. Now, I don't know if Kirby Wilson's punishing him. Maybe he don't show up for practice on time, or maybe Kirby Wilson just didn't like him because he looked at him wrong, or maybe one morning he wanted scrambled eggs and instead ended up having to eat a bowl of cereal. I have no clue. I don't know why. It hasn't been revealed why Kyle Laletta is not playing. He was the first round pick for the Maulers. He's supposed to be this great quarterback from Richmond. He's played in the NFL. So you would think that perhaps they would play him, but they're not. And that's a mystery to everybody. Everybody's even been asking me that because they know I have this show here. And your comments are welcome here in the comments section. You're also welcome for that. I have some announcements coming up towards the end of the show. Don't forget the NFL draft is this week, but we'll talk about that later. And that's just what is going on. Now, my next question is, was chicken salad on the menu again this week? That's a good question there, isn't it? Was chicken salad on there? But Kirby Wilson's been trying to get me fired because I ate pizza instead of chicken salad, and I told Kirby Wilson I do my own shows here, and there we go. So, but anyway, their next opponent's the Michigan Panthers. Jeff Fisher, he went out and he got Shea Patterson. So you know what? I think that the Maulers might be able to screech out a win this week. Although the fact that Michigan has a tough defense, Michigan has become a one-quarter team. They are one-half team. First half they play well, they score points. Second half they do absolutely nothing. So with that, if the Maulers can put together a complete game this week, I think they can beat Michigan. And you know something, Jeff Fisher might end up being 0-3. And then look at this. They all thought he was going to be somebody of, we're going to win all kinds of games with Jeff Fisher. We might even go to the championship because I'm Jeff Fisher. And that's, that's a simple, that's Jeff. I'm Jeff Fisher. So you know what? I think that Jeff Fisher's overrated. And I've come to believe my friend Luther Dupree, who said that Jeff Fisher is not a very good coach. I've heard that numerous times from several different people, and I believe that's to be the case. I mean, he had a ton of talent down in when he was with the Rams. He didn't do anything there, although he won one Super Bowl with the Titans and went through that switch from the Houston Oilers to the Tennessee Titans. He's done that. He was an defensive consultant or some special assistant to the janitor or something at Eastern Tennessee State or something to that effect. I'm not exactly sure, but but Jeff Fisher, he is basically the coach of the Michigan Panthers. And will he have his team ready to play a complete game against the Maulers coming up this Sunday, 2:30 USA Network? Everybody's getting confused about all these networks. What game? How can I watch my game? How can I watch D game? How can I watch any game? Do I have to go to Channel 11 or NBC? Do I have to go to Fox? Do I have to go? You have to check your local listings all the time to find out where these games are because you don't know what channel they're going to be on because they have them on 4 or 5 different channels, which I thought was kind of you know, really? I mean, you can't just have it on Fox. Fox owns it. Instead, you got to spread it out and have it on all these other networks. Why would you even do that? And why would you have the same game on two networks at the same time? Okay. So this is the type of stuff that the Maulers are doing, or not the Maulers, but the USFL is doing that is confusing people. All right. All right, let's go over the week 2 scores. Generals 10, Michigan Panthers 6. I think they have only scored a total of 30 points, Michigan, in the last 2 games. At least the Maulers scored 23 and 3. That's 26. They have, scored, well, no, not necessarily. The Maulers only scored 3 points, and then they scored 23 this week. So that's 26. And so it's pretty close, both teams. But if the Maulers would have scored more games, they would have been way ahead of the Panthers as far as points go. Stars 30, Maulers 23, Birmingham Stallions 33, Houston Gamblers 28. Skip Holtz's team pulled that out by the skin of their chinny chin chin. Houston Gamblers also 0-2 with Kevin Sumlin. That's their coach there. He's supposed to be this offensive guru. So we'll find out what happens down the road with them. New Orleans Breakers 34 and Tampa Bay 3. Todd Haley his team only scoring 3 points. The Breakers got a pretty decent defense. I have to give them credit where it's due. They have a very good defense. Larry Fedora is coaching them up pretty nice down there. They're 2-0 and not doing too bad. All right, next we'll discuss the schedule for this week. Saturday, the Bandits play the Houston Gamblers. 4 p.m. start time on Fox. All right, 7 p.m. Saturday, April 30th, Birmingham Stallions versus the New Orleans Breakers. This ought to be an interesting game. We'll see what goes on. Skip Holtz versus Larry Fedora. We'll see how that goes. As you know, Skip Holtz, the son of Lou Holtz. He was also in college and in the pros as an assistant and a coordinator in some places. Sunday, the Maulers versus the Panthers, 2:30, USA Network, everybody. USA Network, not the Russian network, the Chinese network, USA Network. Okay, 2:30. 8 p.m. on Peacock. Now, you have to have this streaming service on your computer, on your cable system. I have it on my cable system and on my computer. It's called Peacock, New Jersey Generals versus the Philadelphia Stars. And that ought to be an interesting game because Philly is 1-1. They won they won the game against the Maulers by a close 7 points. And then they lost their first game against the Breakers, and that was only by a few points as well. And but the a lot of these games have been pretty competitive. There really hasn't been too many blowouts except for last week's game 2 blowout. With 34-3 New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Most of these games have been close, especially the first week they were close, and now the second week most of them have been close as well, except for the one blowout. What's your thoughts on USFL and the Maulers? I want to hear some comments from you in the comments section. I'd like to find out what you think. Do you think the USFL will last past this year or actually past next year? Excuse me. Excuse me. Anyway, do you think that the Maulers will last throughout the this year and next year? And if they do come back, if they do come back to Pittsburgh and start their playing their games here in Pittsburgh, where do you think they're going to play? And I had this discussion with a few people. We had this talk. I talked about this the first couple shows. I'd like to talk about it again because it's interesting to find out where do you think they're going to play. Now, first of all, everyone's thinking Highmark Stadium, close to town, easy, can get easy to get to. Parking's not a bear. It'll fit their criteria. Well, I'm hearing stories now that Highmark doesn't want the Maulers there. They don't want any football there. What they want played there is soccer, and they let Pitt use it for their lacrosse games. And the Riverhounds play their games there. and soccer clubs and youth soccer's there all the time as well. So they don't want any of that there of that kind. They kick the passion out. Our women's football team. You could use Couple Stadium over in the South Side, which belongs to the Pittsburgh Public Schools. You could use. See, they're looking at using those kinds of places because if you take a look at these games, the only games that really have a big fan base is the Birmingham Stallions because they're the home team down there in Birmingham, Alabama at Legion Field. Okay. So they have, their home crowd that shows up, but most of these games, no one shows up for. And the interesting part about all this is, I said this before and I'll say it one more time. Why don't you make a vacation of it? Birmingham's not a bad little city. You can go take your kids down there. You guys can look around. They got some nice little sightseeing going on, and you can go to all the USFL games, and especially if you like football. Birmingham was not a bad place from what I've read and saw and videos I've seen. It looks like it's a pretty nice little place to go. I'm sure that it would be nice to tour the whatever museums or whatever they have there, tourist attractions. I know it's not much of a tourist city, but I mean, why not go down and support the Maulers? Tickets are only $10, $10 to get into games. So I don't get this. I mean, and we have a flight from Pittsburgh that does go to Birmingham. So get on a plane, head on down there, maybe see a Maulers game, look around a little bit, spend a night at a hotel, and come back. How hard is that to do? I mean, I don't personally believe. I've spoken to a ton of people in this town, and nobody seems to even know that the Maulers are back up and running. Nobody even knows that the USFL is back. Everybody, I guess, turns off the switch on the TV after the Steelers are over or whatever, and everyone's busy, with the Penguins and things like that. Next year, they've already put up a projected teams. They're going to add 2 more teams to the league, but they're going to take out the teams that have bad TV viewership or bad attendance at Legion Field. Okay. And the Maulers have had bad attendance. So when I looked at the projections for next year, it didn't have the Maulers there. So Maulers might not even last past this year, which means then they don't even have to worry about looking for a stadium or anything like that. Okay. I have to move around a little bit because of my condition and my health. So I apologize for that. But anyway, so that's what's going on here, and this is what we have here. And thank you for tuning in today to Maulers Talk. Your comments are welcome as always. A lot of people, I get negative stuff about how they think the Maulers are not going to last. They're not even going to make it to next year. I'm getting all them comments. I am the only Pittsburgh media person that focuses on the Maulers in the USFL. No one else has done that here. They come up with little teeny reports, but that's not it. They don't have a dedicated show like this that I put on. I do a pre and a post game. No one else does it. Okay. So I want you to think about that for a second. I'm the only one doing that here or doing it here in Pittsburgh and everything else. Now, my next question to Fox is, when they release the teams to their owners, I'd like to know who the owner of the Maulers is going to be, and I'd like to know where they're going to play, and even if Kirby Wilson's even going to be the coach, because you know how it is with owners and GMs and things like that. They want to go out and get another coach, or they want to go do their own little thing. They don't want Kirby Wilson as the coach. And the way things are going right now, and as I've said before, in the way he is conducting his business with these players, cutting players over a piece of pizza and things like that. And then he comes to pregame last week and tells his players, "Oh, I didn't cut that guy just because of a piece of pizza. I cut him for other reasons. So don't listen to what they say in the media." Well, Kirby, you said it and you made an embarrassing fool of yourself. And then you embarrassed the team to where when they were playing the first game, everybody's yelling, "Pizza, pizza, 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 pizza." Yeah, they're yelling pizza. All right. And then you got frustrated because everybody was doing that. Well, you know what, Kirby? You were the one who made a fool of yourself. And these days, Kirby Wilson, I don't know. I don't know if you understand this, and I don't care how many players you coached. All right. What? Okay. What you don't seem to understand, social media these days, you can't poop, and they don't know what color it is. Okay. So do you see what I'm getting at? What I'm trying to tell you is that you can't. You do stuff like that, it gets out there. I mean, your whole life can get out there. Everybody's life can get out there. Because you know why? Because of social media. And that's exactly how that works. Okay. All right. Comment section wide open. I'm Ralph Williams. This is Mauler's Talk. If you're first time, we talk about Mauler's football. And I just ran down the schedule for you. They play this Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Against the Michigan Panthers, coached by Jeff Fisher. Those of you who don't know who our coach is Kirby Wilson, former running backs coach of several different NFL teams, coached in college, and he's never been a head coach, and I know he's trying to set himself in stone in ways that might not meet with today's players' standards, or at least some of them in some cases. Don't forget to tune in every Wednesday, 4:30 here on YouTube and Facebook. We have Mauler's Talk. We're here. All right. Tonight, and I want to go run down some of my media schedule. Tonight, well, it turns out that I had to bump my Wrestle Talk show back one day. Okay. So tonight, my Wrestle Talk show will be on 8 p.m. Blog Talk Radio. Myself and my co-host Mark Mancini, who is from Los Angeles, California. We talk wrestling tonight. We're going to talk WWE, AEW, and so on as well tonight. Now, I'm not saying this to be rude, and I know this isn't really the forum to say this, but I've only gotten support from one independent wrestling company in this town. I interviewed I was doing a show called Wrestle Chat, and I did one show. I did it with, or I did two shows actually. I did one by myself, and then I had Trapper Tom Jerky on from the Keystone State Wrestling Alliance. They are the only wrestling people that have given me guests to put on my show, and that was Trapper Tom. Okay. What I'm frustrated with is the other wrestling companies in this town that refuse to return my emails. And one of them that did return my emails got ignorant with me in regards to podcasts. Okay. I've managed to get support from Blam, which is run by James White, and also from the Keystone State Wrestling Alliance. IWC hasn't returned my calls. We were supposed to have a working relationship. I would love to get Wrestle Chat back up if I can get some more support from some more of the local wrestling companies here. It seems like nobody wants to return my phone calls or my emails. So I don't know if it's just plain out ignorance or you just don't want to deal with me, but that's another story. But I have my national talk show, everybody, called Wrestle Talk. It's on every other Thursday, but we had to bump it back one day, all right, because my co-host has other obligations for tomorrow. All right, so we moved it back to tonight at 8 p.m., and we'll be on. You can listen to the show, 347-205-9631. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and this is right before the NFL draft. I'm having a very special Sports Corner podcast, and this is why I moved it to Thursday, draft edition. And my guest, as of right now, I try to line up a bunch of guys. Everybody's got other obligations, so I was able to get Smokin' Jim Frazier on with me, and you'll probably be hearing from him if I decide to move that to another day as well, because my Tuesday nights haven't been real good with that Sports Corner podcast. Neither have my Sunday nights either, which I'm thinking about doing something with here. I don't know what's going on here, and I need you to subscribe on YouTube and also follow me on Facebook, Ralph Williams. My shows, I get very few comments. I don't get very few likes or listens. So people do view the show. I don't get any people subscribing to my channel. I'm not saying this to be a crybaby. I'm just saying that's just a true case. So I'm thinking about doing some shuffling some times, maybe shuffling around some days, moving some shows out, moving some shows in. I'm not exactly sure what to do right now because nobody's getting to me. Nobody's responding. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who listens, who watches. I mean, I do know I have a big listening audience for the Wrestle Talk all across the country. So that's the story there. Anyway, tomorrow night's 7 p.m. special NFL Draft Edition Sports Corner podcast. My special guest, Smoking Jim Frazier. I'm waiting to hear back from Luther Dupree, and I'm also waiting to hear back from a couple other guys that I want to try to have on next week. Next week, we will be on, and I'll give you the date and time that we will be on next week for a draft wrap-up show. And what I mean by that, or a draft post-draft show. We're going to go over who the Steelers drafted, who the other teams drafted in the first round, what quarterbacks that were supposed to be in the first round might not go in the first round, and all that. Okay, so that's the story with that as well. Don't forget Sunday night 9 p.m. Actually, Sunday night will be a special Sports Corner draft wrap up, small one on Sunday night. We're going to talk about who the Steelers drafted a little bit on Sunday night. And then Tuesday night, I'll have a panel of people on. I'm working on getting Scott Morganroth. I'm working on getting a guy from New England. And we're going to see what their teams, what their teams drafted and what needs they fixed. And we're going to have that as well. And Smoking Jim Frazier. We're going to try to probably have that show will be on either on Wednesday or Thursday. So stay tuned on my Facebook page and throughout YouTube and Facebook on my pages as well. But we'll be on Sports Corner 9 p.m. special edition, and then 9:35 The Way I See It. Don't forget Friday, The Way I See It. Now I'm having Brian Gula on. He is the union rep for the jail guards. I'm having him on Friday night, and it's going to be interesting. 7 p.m. start time. We're going to see and find out what's going on with him, what's going on down at the jail. We'll have our usual bonehead, our usual things like that as well, Chinese wisdom. And then we're going to interview Brian, and we're going to find out what's going on down at the jail, and we have some other topics we can talk about as well on The Way I See It, Friday, 7 p.m. Don't forget to put it down on your calendar or put it in your calendar or whatever you do to write everything down. All right. So there's the schedule for this week for you. All my media stuff going on. Don't forget Mauler's game Sunday, 2:30 p.m. on USA Network. And I want to thank everybody for today for watching. And I'm Ralph Williams. Have a good one. Be safe.
Make more time.